And so this is like royalty. So you've got Geldof and Paula Yates. Midge on the left, who was in so many bands, wasn't he, including Visage.
Yeah.
And Bowie on the right, Duran. Oh, my goodness, that sums it up.
Yeah, it was a special day. That Paula was one of the most beautiful women you can imagine, most charismatic women. Everybody you knew fell in love with her. But as you'll see in that picture, I am standing well behind David Bowie, right? Because previously to this, the first David Bowie, you know, we all loved so much. I grew up with him, looking at him on my brother's wall in our bedroom ever since I was tiny. And so the first time I ever met David Bowie, I was at Tony Visconti's studio, who was the producer of David Bowie. And I must have been like 17 years old, and I was with a friend of mine, Steve Strange. And so I see David Bowie walk in, and it takes me until the end of the evening before I kind of get the bottle up enough to go over and shake his hand. But by the time I shake his hand, I was completely drunk out of my brains, shake his hand, and go flying into the corner of the room and land in a crumpled heap on the other side of the door, right? So all I remember is David Bowie looking at me and laughing. So I thought, when I met him that time, I thought I'd better stand a little bit behind him so he doesn't see me.
You're talking about best-selling Spandau song, and actually we all think it's true and it's not, is it? It's a different one.
Oh, no, it's kind of taking it in turns, you know, whether it's gold or true. You know, when Spandau first started and when we came out with the song True, it kind of like sent Spandau into being one of the biggest international bands at that time. And True was the song that represented us then. But I suppose now, when young kids today talk about Spandau, they think more about gold.
Yeah, no, I say it because you did a little quiz in the book about which is the best selling, and you said gold, not true. But you're right, it might move around. I know there's been several calls for Gold by Spandau Ballet to become the country's national anthem. That's how popular it is. But you didn't play bass on True. That's what's amazing.
Yeah, you know, it's our biggest song, and it's my biggest regret, you know, sitting in the studio one day and deciding that it would be a really good idea if we put a bass synth on True rather than me playing bass. I think it's my biggest regret. And it comes from, do you remember that Imagination song? But that band Imagination, and they used to use a bass synth a lot. And it comes from that, and I thought it would be a really good idea. But to be honest, I think it was more to the fact that I wanted to get outside and sit by the pool because we recorded it in the Bahamas.
So we saw the photo of the Geldof wedding. There's another photo in the book of your wedding with Shirley, and Shirley's been into the studio as well, marrying in St. Lucia in 1988, and how private it was and how quiet. And at that time, I can see in the book you're starting to think the band is coming to an end.
Yeah, you know, I think mine and Shirley's wedding at that time was too private. To this day, I don't think we're really married. You know, I don't think it was legal, but it was. My brother had just got married, and it had been, you know, one of those complete circuses where everybody is there and everybody's dining on this chicken that nobody really wants. And then all I remember, I was the best man, and I was stopping arguments all day because of who was sitting next to who and who was sitting next to the cake. I found the whole thing really difficult. So when it comes to me and Shirley getting married, we just said, you know what, after all of that, we're just going to go off and do it on our own.
Well, listen, you saying the 80s is the best decade for music started a massive discussion here. Nina went 70s. Storm, you went...
I would go 80s.
80s?
Yeah, I'm definitely 80s. I love a bit of
And I would say, even though I wasn't conscious in the 60s, I mean, the 60s without a shadow of a doubt.